All right, guys, I just wanted to go over a couple things with you. And if I see you tomorrow, great. I'll kind of review all this stuff. But I also am doing this for remote people and just so you guys can kind of start thinking about some of this stuff. So we're done with the rhetorical analysis. Moving on from that, one thing that I reiterated to the remote crew is that if you feel like now that you've worked with those two sources, they don't really fit what you're working towards, feel free to abandon ship. Just, let those articles go. Maybe they're not fitting your needs for your assignment, for your topic. That's totally fine. That's kind of the whole point of exploring these. This is also a good time to kind of evaluate now that you've done a little bit of research for your topics. If you need to pick a new angle for that's my dog, of course, you're fine. If you need to pick a new angle for your topic, or if you need to kind of just start over and pick a whole new topic. So just start to think about those things now that you've worked with your topic a little bit more, especially as we start to get farther into these different assignments. So the readings I gave you, busy trap, stuff not salvation, what's the matter with kids today? There's just a couple things I wanted to point out in these articles. So the busy trap, I really, really like busy trap because I feel like there's a lot of really good examples of hasty generalization in this essay. They kind of make these big, broad statements about people in general, being busy, what being busy means to people. And I think it's super effective. So like whether or not I agree with how he defines busyness and the way he sort of calls people out, in essence, I'm kind of forced to evaluate my own busyness. So I love his one-liners, which can be a really effective technique in op-eds. And so he talks about how they're busy because of their own ambition to drive anxiety, because they're addicted to busyness and dread what they might have to face in absent. They evolve into children being super busy. He also says how busyness is something we've chosen. Also, his is a really good example of personal stories. So this is a really good place to tie in, like if you've read an article, maybe off the beaten path, you can include that in your op-ed, and you don't even have to identify who it is. And you'll kind of notice he does not identify who it is. And he also says, I can't help but wonder if this histrionic enthusiasm isn't a way of covering up the fact that what we do actually doesn't matter. So a lot of really cool one-liners in this and personal stories. Notice, no facts. There's no like numbers or anything that stands out. A lot of hasty generalization. So this is one approach to an op-ed, and that was the busy trap. The other one I wanted to talk about is stuff is not salvation. I like this one. It has a lot of allusions and metaphors in it. So feel free to be a little creative with your writing, compare things, be dramatic with your word choice. Don't be afraid to be kind of over the top. Hopefully there are moments in these op-eds where you feel like, wow, that was a little dramatic, and that's okay for you to write with that style as well. He does include stats, and I like stuff is not salvation because he sprinkles his stats. Notice he doesn't put it in quotation marks. So that's a technique. You can mention your source at the end without like having to get into that nitty-gritty MLA style of writing. He does provide a story, a personal story of someone, which I also really like. And yeah, so don't be afraid to sprinkle some stats, but also if you'll notice in the description of the assignment, it's not required. You don't have to use any sources if you don't want to, but you can. What's the matter with kids today? I like this one a lot because it does two things. I feel like it shows one view really well, but then he's actually in support or she's actually in support of the opposite. So it does a really cool job of showing both sides, but she's clearly like giving kids the benefit of the doubt. So it's just a really neat way to form an argument. So check that out. She also sprinkles some stats. She makes a lot of allusions. She sticks with a specific theme. And yes, okay, hold on. I'm sorry. Oh, you're okay. And she uses a lot of really dramatic language. So that's also what I really liked about her op-ed. So make sure you kind of check those out. You can just Google op-eds. There's a whole op-ed section in the New York Times that's just opinion. Violet, no, stop. That's just opinion. So feel free to like check out other ones and figure out kind of what you want your style to be. In the assignment, it goes into specifications. It has to be a 2 to 3 page essay, 2 full pages or more. And I like to call it the rant essay because I think it resonates a little bit differently for some of you guys if you're trying to figure out like how this is supposed to be. So make your opinion obvious. Feel free to kind of, really use ethos, pathos, logos, have that drama to it a little bit. Don't be afraid of that. Also know that you don't have to cite your sources if you don't want to. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to show you is in your draft, there's no outline because you can kind of go rogue with this. You don't have to follow the typical CQC format. It can be if you want it to be, but it doesn't have to be. And you'll notice that in these, they have their own paragraphs. So you make the call. Like, when do you feel like the paragraph ended? When are you bringing up a new idea? You get to determine that. This doesn't really function with like an intro and conclusion. I mean, it does. You have to give it a beginning feel and an ending feel, but not that stereotypical one that we're used to. So be creative. Like, this is your one and only opportunity to be creative with your topic, to really say how you feel within reason. And you don't feel so restricted by the academic language. Now, obviously, I want you to write in like complete sentences, grammar, punctuation, and all that fun stuff. But this should just be a good opportunity for you to just kind of enjoy your topic and run with it. Don't be wishy-washy. Make sure you definitely pick a side, but don't feel like you have to follow that strict CQC format that we have in the past. So your op-ed needs to be between a page and a page and a half, and that is due the 21st, which is this Sunday. The other thing that I want you to start thinking about, I'm actually going to start a Google Doc. I forgot to do this, but I'm going to start a Google Doc, and I would like you guys to type in your working thesis in that Google Doc. Everyone's going to have access to it. So just make sure you don't meddle with other people's stuff and accidentally delete their topics, because I think it would be nice too for you guys just to see other people's thesis statements. Now, bit of a warning. I think there's like 6 of you that have the same topic. So don't be discouraged if like your thesis and your idea is almost exactly the same. I feel like you kind of were taking different directions, but I know for sure there are 2 of you in class who are probably going to have like the same thesis statement based on the stuff that I've read so far and stuff that you've turned in. And that's okay. You're going to have different papers. So if you format it similarly, mention the same kind of ideas, that's not a problem. Your thesis statement for a 10-pager should probably be around 2 sentences. So I'm going to put an example sentence in the document so you can kind of get a feel for that, and then you guys can create your own. And anytime you want to change it or adjust it, I want you to do that in the doc so that I can just constantly go back for the next couple of weeks and look at your thesis statement. So anytime you make a change, please make that change in the document, which I will post here shortly. And then the last thing is, if I see you guys tomorrow, great, super duper dandy. I'll give you these. I don't know if I'm going to see you for the rest of the week. We'll just kind of see how it goes. But these are 2 articles. We're going to take a little bit of a break from our topic, and we're going to do a documentary and an in-class essay. So that's going to be taking place somehow, one way or another. But these are articles to have read for next week, not this week, but next week. And if I see you in person, I will give you guys a copy of these articles. But if you want to get ahead of the game a little bit, feel free to read those. So the other thing I just wanted to throw out there, juniors who are in my class, just make sure whenever, okay, so Miss Surbaugh said she has a meeting tomorrow, so she's actually not coming in tomorrow, and I'll post this in classroom. But her plan is to come Thursday or the next time that we're in person. So she will not be there tomorrow, and I'll throw out something in classroom about that. But yeah, we got to register for that ACT test at some point. So I think that's everything for you. If you have any questions, email me. Hopefully this just kind of gets you started in regards to your op-ed. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.